Cameras and everything are rolling.
All right.
So we might.
Hopefully I don't embarrass us all.
Everything will be just fine.
Good.
So it takes me a minute to get everything set up.
Well, we're trying to get Simon and Simon, either Simon,
From the show?
to come here in
From
person.
the TV show, Simon and Simon?
Well, we had Simon and Simon from England. We had two Simons.
Right.
Simon Kakosa and the one I actually know, Simon Curtis.
Yeah. Old SC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who we're talking about. Maybe I should.
Well, Simon Kakosa is a dressage person. Somehow he got connected with Brett.
Okay. I was going to say I should probably know him because I could get a little better at that.
Simon Curtis in the farrier world, you probably pretty well know who he is worldwide.
You know what she's
Unless
gonna?
you've been living in a
you know
hole.
what she's gonna do now?
What's
She's
that?
gonna go back and see all the shows where it says "Meet Simon Curtis" and "Meet Simon Kokoza." She's gonna listen to those
Right.
shows, and she's gonna know exactly who they are.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
Kelsey,
totally.
yep.
Am. I'm going to do my homework after. I did no homework coming into this. I'm going to do my homework after.
There you go.
Simon Curtis is a English farrier
Okay.
who did a doctorate in equine physiology.
Oh, wow.
And he is 69 years old at this point, and
All right.
he's no longer working on horses, but he travels the world doing clinics.
Well, that sounds kind of fun.
And he's written many books and all that. And he did a lot of his career working with leg problems with babies.
All right. Well, I should probably read some of his books and listen to him a little bit.
Yeah. Simon's worth paying attention to.
All right.
Speaking of paying attention, Mike, you ready?
No,
All right.
but we'll do it anyway.
Kelsey, you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right,
Yes.
here we go.
And now for something special. The unit is self-contained with its own saddler, farrier, wheelwright and so on. It's a rigorous training dished out who know all there is to know about horses, and it brings results.
We take you behind the scenes now to show just some of the interesting aspects of this training.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, the award-winning #1 podcast to create sounder horses from the ground up. Mike Stine is a registered journeyman farrier with an APF1 accreditation. On this week's show, joining us here in the studio, we have 4-star eventing rider Kelsey Briggs is going to be joining us. She is a trainer of horses and coaches of people. And we're going to talk about her horse named Pirate and all the trauma and everything it went through to get where it is today. All this and much more will be discussed here on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. And over to my far right side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I am doing good, Travis. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking, Mike.
Yes.
So I have a question for you.
Right?
My horse Cayenne, the little pistol,
Right.
she's been coughing, like has this like not coughing, but she's got like this wheezing thing. Now I know you're not a vet or anything like that, but you know this is the time of year. We have just recently bush hogged the front pasture here on the property, and the sugar content. My wife is telling me that the sugar content in the grass now is a little bit higher. Are you seeing that out there in the fields where you're at?
It's getting time to start seeing some problems with that, yes.
So the problem that we're coming across is that Cayenne is starting to, her breathing is more labored. So my wife is telling me to soak hay.
Well,
What does soaking hay do for hay? Hay.
if there's any molds or anything or stuff in it, you kind of, I don't know. They do soak hay for a few reasons, but you're getting some of the dust out of it, and maybe that will help with the breathing. I've known people to do that. That's not my deal.
Yeah, I know it's not your
with
deal, but I didn't know.
Laminitic, of course, you soak it to reduce the sugar level.
Well, that's what she was saying. That's where I was going with the whole soaking the hay. My wife
Right.
says that I need to soak the hay to reduce the sugar level. Can I just do, instead of giving her like the one fleck that we do give her like half of that? Wouldn't it be like, like skim milk? It's only 2% milk. Only give her less sugar.
You do. I mean, if her weight's getting too much, you need to cut back on the groceries.
Yeah, I know that, but
yeah, with the sugar being up in the grass, you need to do something. And in the fall, in this part of the country, we get more laminitic flare-ups in the fall than we do the spring. But people are thinking about it in the spring. In the fall, there's like nobody seems to pay it that much attention.
So that's what I'm coming across right now. My wife says that's my job in the morning is to soak the hay right after my walk that I do in the morning, and then when I come back from the walk, go ahead and feed the horses hay, the wet hay. So that's where I'm at. What have you been doing this past couple weeks, Mike?
Well, I went out and met one of the vets from Greenock. They had a horse that had been blowing abscesses over and over and over, and they sent some of the stuff some of the x-rays off to a radiologist and said they had a sequestrum at the tip of the coffin bone. So went out with a vet, and we did deal with that. Opened up. The horse had pretty good bit of white line fungus, so cleaned all that out, and took care of the rest of the problems. Got rid of the dead garbage, and they're packing the foot, and it actually turned out a lot better than what we were looking at radiographically once we got in there. And then Saturday I was at a conference. Remember Dick Mansman that was on here?
Yes, I do. I know him very well now.
Right. He is involved in putting that on, and ended up hanging out with Megan Radkin, who is one of our alumni from the show.
Correct.
And Megan is working up at NC State, doing some of their podiatry work at this point.
Well, good for her. So did you have
it was a good weekend.
You had a good time?
Yeah.
Business as usual, right?
Business as usual.
All right, guys. Well, speaking of business as usual, joining us here in the studio, we have a very, very nice young lady. Kelsey Briggs is going to be joining us here in the studio. So if you're not over on YouTube, now's your chance to jump on over there right now. And for every podcast we do, we have the full uncut, raw podcast over there on the YouTube channel. So search Equine Dynamics over on YouTube. So stick around. Lots to talk about, lots to get into. So you're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Don't forget, you can join the podcast. The way you can be part of the show is go over to equinedynamics.com. At the very top of the page says, join the podcast. Hit that little button, opens up a tab, and you can see all the past shows from the last 4 years of shows that we've been doing here. We're getting ready to wrap up season 13, so now's your chance. Jump on over there and you can catch up with all the different people that we've had on the show, all the different guests that we've had, and your voice can be heard as well. If you've got a microphone on your device that you're listening to us on, or at your phone, your tablet, your PC, if it's got a microphone hooked up to it, you can leave a voicemail. It comes right to our inbox, and we will play your voice right alongside of us here in the studio. We broadcast every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, a little town we like to call Marshville. So your voice can be heard right here on the show, and we'll answer your questions right here on the air. And over to my far hand side, my very own social media answer man is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you doing? And thank you for being with us, Kelsey.
Thanks for having me.
And joining us right here live in the studio, we have Kelsey Briggs. You are a pro 3-day event rider. And I said trainer of horse. Well, you said you were a trainer and a coach. And I said, well, what's the difference? You're like, well, I train horses and I coach people. Yeah. So that's kind of the direction I went with that. So thank you for joining us here in the studio.
Thank you for having me. Any chance to talk about Pirate, I'm happy. So.
And you say, we're going to get into Pirate here in just one sec, but we want to talk about you because our guests want to know who you are and where you came from. So I always do this, and people know exactly where I'm going if you listen to any length of these podcasts when I have a guest in the studio. The first couple guests that we had here in the studio, they would tell their story, and I saw a common denominator in the story. So then I started taking it upon myself, kind of like when you know what someone's going to say, you just go, okay, I'm going to say this, be done with it. How you got started in the horse business and why the horse, and because you're a trainer, you're also, do you do something else? Are you a body worker, or am I incorrect by saying that?
Yeah, this is all I do. I full-time training, coaching.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
She runs about 8 or 9 days a week.
So I'm going to say, how did you get into the business? And this is my answer that I always say. You are on Daddy's farm. Mom was a horse rider. You took after Mom's path. Hold on, let me finish.
Go for it.
Your uncle had horses, and you go to your uncle's house and shoe his horses, and you fell in love with horses, and you started at the age of 8, and you've loved horses ever since. So on all those that I've spit out to you, what's the common denominator in all those with you? None, right?
Not really. My parents were not into horses. I mean, I think they liked them a lot, but they weren't into horses at all. My dad said when he grew up, they had a fox hunting mural on the wall of his house. So that was as close as he was to horses. And my mom liked them. Her best friend rode up in Virginia, so my mom rode a little bit with her. And that's really, I think, who got me into it. My mom's best friend was my godmother, and she was a fox hunter up in Middleburg, Virginia. And whenever I would go visit her, I just idolized her. And I think that's really what piqued my interest in the horses to begin with. We'd go look at all those beautiful horses and farms up there. And I just kind of wanted to be like Godma, wanted to do whatever she did. And I think that's what piqued my interest early. I started riding when I was 5 or 6, I guess. And then my parents bought me a horse when I was, I guess, 8 years old.
Oh, you must have been a really good kid then. If at 8 years old, they're going to buy you a horse.
Spoiled brat, only child, I guess. I don't know. I did not get into gymnastics. I really disappointed them by not getting into their business. They were in gymnastics.
So much cheaper.
Well, but anyway, yeah, they owned a big gym and all that. I should have just gone right into that, but I ended up being kind of tall and lanky and awkward, even young, and I have to use horses to make me look somewhat graceful and coordinated, I suppose, but I was not going to be a gymnast. So they bought me this wild little Arabian pony when I was 8 years old. We put it in our friend's backyard. Basically, they had a little backyard farm, and I galloped Laddie all over hell and high water, just everywhere, jumping over everything we could find. And that pony ended up taking me up through preliminary level in eventing. Mostly we ran training level. He ran a few prelims for me. He was only 13 two hands, this tiny little guy. But I had him until he was 30, and I had him 25 years basically.
And what was that horse's name?
Laddie. Aladdin's treasure was his competition.
Laddie was a really cool dude.
Laddie was so cool. Little Arabian pony, wild as a bat, but so good to me. I owe Laddie an awful lot. But he was my first event horse, and I did my first event.
He got started.
Yeah, I did my first event on him when I was 8 years old, so back in the 90s. And he did so much, the American Eventing Championships and all that. I mean, he was just amazing. He won the area championships, and he won a lot for me. That pony, he was so good to me. But he was naughty, and so that's what got me riding all the naughty ponies, and and that's kind of why I ultimately became a trainer. So,
so how long have you been training and coaching?
Well, I guess I've been doing it professionally for over 20 years. As in getting paid to ride people's horses. I had a business started young. I was like 12 years old, and I was charging $10 a ride, man. But I was still getting paid. So I guess
little hustler.
Professional, yeah. But it was because I was used to sitting through bucks and ponies bolting, and nothing really scared me. I mean, I was getting teeth knocked out and broken bones, and I didn't care. I'd get right back on. And so I think that's ultimately why I became a trainer, is because I figured out really, really young. I mean, if you asked me when I was 8 years old, I would have said, I'm going to be a professional event rider. I knew what I wanted to do then because I saw it in the Olympics, and I was like, that's it. That's for me. And then I saw there's a big event in England called Badminton Horse Trials. And I somehow saw this special, this brilliant rider, Mary King, and she had a horse called Star Appeal, and they were getting ready for badminton horse trials. I was like, I want to do that. And then it was in the Atlanta Olympics, and I'm like, this is it. This is my life. And I have just stubbornly stuck to that. Whether or not I'm good enough to be doing it, I just have stuck to it no matter what. So, but yeah.
And you rode at badminton with Pirate, right?
I did not. No.
Did not?
I went to badminton. But
you went to badminton.
I haven't ridden there yet. I walked that course, and I would love to, but
right.
I wasn't going to put him on a plane. I didn't have that.
you did head overseas with Pirate.
All right, hold on, Mike. You're jumping ahead of the game here.
Excuse me.
We have to ease the audience into Pirate. So now that you said you stuck with the horse that you had, how did you get into this horse named Pirate that Mike was alluding to here?
Okay, so I knew at a certain point I was already too tall for Aladdin. He was 13 two hands. I mean, gosh, I'm not super tall, but I'm tall enough that I didn't need to be on that small of a pony. I'm 5'7", and my legs were about hitting the jumps. So I knew, and I had, to be fair, I did have some other horses coming up through the levels. My mom helped me buy a yearling when I was 14. I remember I paid for him, but obviously, when you're 14, your mom's still driving.
Helps a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it still helps you go get the horse. And by this point, my parents had leased property with a little barn on it, and so I had gotten a yearling, and I had broken that yearling, and that means I started it. I got it going, and there was this other really difficult but wonderful mare that I was competing. And so I had some other horses coming up from Aladdin, but even then I seemed to have some sort of a sense that I knew these were not going to be advanced horses. These weren't going to be badminton, burly Rolex horses. I knew that I was going to need that. So I got the thought, I'm going to get a horse off the racetrack. I got this wonderful horse I called Casanova in 2005, and was bringing him up. He was so lovely. A great start to getting horses off the racetrack when I was 17. And then the next year, I guess I had just turned 18. I was supposed to be finding a horse for a client, and I was going to get one off the track. And it was early July, and this is back when you would just go online, and there was a website called Canter. and you'd go on there and there were horses listed for sale by the trainers at the racetrack.
Now, when you say get a horse off the racetrack, you always hear these stories like, "Oh, I've got a horse on the racetrack," and I'm thinking like these horses are like millions and millions of dollars, and you're just a kid. I say a kid. You're
17.
Yeah. I mean, you were young, and you're obviously, I don't know your background. I don't know if you've got millions and millions of dollars to spend on a horse, but I mean, when you hear horse, "Oh, I bought a horse off the track," I'm always thinking of the cartoon where the old guy's like, "You're not this, get rid of you horse, you can't win anything," flea biscuit or whatever.
That's
like that.
Pretty much it. Yeah. By that point, by the time I could get them, it's because they're not successful on the track, or they've had an injury that they need some time off or something. But somebody's trying to move them along by the time I could touch them, because they're proving that that's not going to be their sport,
their path. Okay.
Yeah. And so that was kind of the case with Pirate. I was initially just going to try and get a horse for a client. Cause like I said, I was at 17, man, I had clients, I had everything. I had to figure out how to pay for it early. Right. And it's not a cheap sport. I went out and got sponsors, and I was working all these horses, but they're expensive and I had to pay for them myself. That wasn't, something that was my parents' job to pay for. That was mine. And thank goodness, because I think we should all have to pay for the thing. I feel that if you really want to go after something, you should learn young how to make that happen for yourself.
Right.
So anyway, I had this client. They wanted me to get a horse off the track for them. I was scrolling through those listings. I found one that I thought would suit her, and then I just saw this big, lanky looking, big bay.
Pitiful.
And his name was Bub the Scrub. I would like to say that his name was Bub the Scrub.
How appropriate.
Golly. And I called about him, and I just decided on a whim, let's go. And drove up the next morning, left at 3:00 in the morning, drove up to Cincinnati, Ohio. The racetrack was called River Downs. And the second I laid eyes on Pirate, I don't know that I believe in love at first sight with people, but it definitely is a real thing with me and Pirate. I saw him and I just knew that was my horse. I harkened back to that little kid watching Mary King on Star Appeal. He even looks kind of like him, if you ask me, the big bays with the star and the white socks, But that wasn't why at all. I just knew, instantly I saw that horse. He reached out his head and turned it sideways like he was trying to kiss. And I was like, that's it. That's my horse. He's this big, lanky 3-year-old.
I think I've seen that movie, by the way.
Big, lanky 3-year-old and had only raced 3 times. And the record of his race, the last one said, early speed, stopped.
Oh, God.
He did something called flipping his palate. But anyway, it's basically a breathing issue. And but I decided the other horse was going to work for the client, so I was already in on that. And I pulled out the $600 that I had.
Whoa!
Gave them that for Pirate, and they were like, "Cool, take Bob the Scrub off the property." But he was Pirate by the time he got on the trailer. I just had renamed him. That was it. I just knew.
You couldn't have a horse named Bub the Scrub.
Yeah, it's funny now. I kind of probably should have kept it. It would have been pretty funny jumping around a 4-star on Bub the Scrub. But the Gentleman Pirate suits him better, I think.
Yeah, Bub the Scrub already had history of being this horse on the track that wasn't doing very well, and you would think, okay, now here's Bub the Scrub, and he's doing, what is he doing now? He's gone through some trauma, so we're going to take a quick little break, and we're going to dive into the trauma that Pirate Bub the Scrub went into, and how Kelsey went into adjusting, and were all her hopes and dreams gone? But we'll find out. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. You're doing fine.
Okay, good.
No,
very
God, you're
good.
fine.
Very good. Good energy, lively, like you always are.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Don't forget to join him on Facebook, and the way you do that is to search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine over on Facebook. And the reason why you're going to do that is because you love horses, and Mike loves horses too, and he posts a lot of different educational. A lot of videos up there, a lot of pictures up there, a lot of schedules, a lot of diagrams, all this stuff up there for anyone who wants to further their education for horses or the equine world. Mike puts that up there. He's got 2 pages. He's got Equine Dynamics Mike Stine, his personal page, and also his business page. So if he posts on one, you will see it on the other as well. So make sure you give him a follow over there. I think he maxed out one section at 5,000, so he had to move over to another section, which will allow close to 10. And we're slowly creeping up there, but make sure you give him a follow on your Facebook page. Just something light and refreshing as you're scrolling throughout the day. And over to my far inside, my very own light and refreshing gentleman is Mike Stine. How are you?
I am doing good. Travis, how are you? And thank you for being with us. Kelsey, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for letting me talk about my horse.
And-
That's all I want to do.
And joining us this week, a 4-star event rider, Kelsey Briggs, is joining us here in the studio. Make sure you follow us over on YouTube as well, and you can watch this in real time. Now, you were talking about you bought Pirate for $600, which is... Was it kind of like in the movies where, get this horse off my property first, first taker, first buyer wants to, take this horse and, sir, I've got $600. I'll buy the horse from you. I mean, is it that type of situation when you bought them?
They were well cared for, all the horses in that stable. So, I mean, there are, trainers on the racetrack that are not good for sure. And they kind of give the entire industry a bad rap. But even though this horse was not successful for them, as I said, he raced 3 times for them and it was not making any money. They still treated him very well. They wanted him to go to a good home. It wasn't like, get him out of here, but he certainly needed to move along. Right. So they were happy to take my measly little $600 that, I guess I just turned 18-year-old me could afford. Right.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
I mean, it was, even then, though, it was still cheap for a horse. I mean,
Yeah.
It wasn't, I know it's been a while, but that was still pretty cheap.
Right.
But they were happy to let him go. They could tell he was going to be well cared for and have a good life with me. So I think they did genuinely care about that.
I think most people want them to have good lives wherever they land.
Yeah, they do. I've had great experiences with everybody on the track. I worked on the track for a while. I haven't seen too many bad people out there in that, but they're certainly there. They're in every sport.
So you get Bugs the Scrubs on
Bub the Scrub. Yeah, we're Bub the Scrub.
Pirate on the trailer.
Yeah.
You get him home and you take him off the trailer and you're riding him for a little bit and you're doing well. Is he doing well? In his new home and his new lifestyle and his new training, his eventing that he's going to be doing.
Yeah.
Did he go straight into eventing or did you have to do something else with him?
So as a 3-year-old, I didn't really want to start jumping. I remember I took him to a little schooling thing out. There's a place called TTC, Thoroughbred Training Center, and there were little teeny tiny 18-inch fences, and he'd already been racing, which is hard enough on their bodies. And so I think I took him and let him jump some little 18-inch fences at TTC in that fall. I'd gotten him in July 7th. In that fall, I took him and let him jump around some little baby stuff. But when he turned 4, I started jumping him a little bit more and doing little beginner novice level events and things like that, and just kind of moved him up through the levels. He kind of just started winning stuff.
Not over pushing him when he was,
No, he's just a baby. I think I maybe ran a little bit of novice when he was a 4-year-old. And he was winning. He was, proving competitive, but still it wasn't that was like going to prove it's going to be an advanced horse because you can win a novice as a young horse, right? But it was still promising. But then he just kept, moving up through the levels. He was moved up to preliminary at 6, was very successful, was winning a lot of stuff.
So what was his trauma? What was the trauma that he ended up getting into?
Yeah, so so 7 years old, he moves up to intermediate, which is quite a big level. And I had never gone that level before. It was a big deal for me. I'd taken a couple horses up through prelim, had never gone intermediate. So Pirate's jumping around intermediate very successfully. Everything's good. We're going for a few years. And then one day in January of 2013, we got to the barn and he couldn't move. He was in the field. And because my horses live out in a herd to this day, even when Pirate was running 4 stars, he lived out in a big field in a herd with other horses. And I think that's really important. That's my own personal opinion.
They get to be horses when they're off time.
My horses get to be horses all the time, and they, just because they're upper level competitors, they're not going to be bubble wrapped or kept in a stall all the time or private little paddocks. It's just not the way I do things. So anyway, he had gotten hurt in the field, clearly. We didn't know what was going on. He just couldn't move. He barely got him to walk into the barn. He was falling all over the place, just stumbling everywhere. So we knew it was something serious. Long story short, he had fractured his neck and kind of middle way down his neck. And he broke the vertebra really badly, right into the body of it. It looked on the x-rays, there was slight displacement. It was pressing on his spinal cord. Obviously had not severed it.
Right.
It was pressing on it, and that was why he was so neurologic, like the way he was moving.
And you don't know what happened to him out there in the pasture. He was just quote unquote horsing around.
He won't tell.
We don't know. They could have just been running around. We never found any evidence of anything that had happened, but somehow he broke his neck. And bizarrely, horses can actually have like minor fractures in their necks and
be okay.
Not know.
Yeah,
but this was like extreme, like completely fine to really bad, right? And so obviously something had happened overnight.
I would think
we'll ever know.
like a horse, sometimes they'll run and their front feet will fall in on themselves, and the head goes down and they do like this, roly-poly roll type thing. Maybe something like that happened.
So my vet, Travis Blackwelder, he said it did seem like it was like a rotational fall.
Okay.
Which is what happens on cross country. Good job. Yeah, well done. Like rotational falls are what happen on cross country. So you would think, you hear about an upper level event horse that fractured his neck in a rotational fall, you think cross country. Well, I mean, he hadn't jumped a fence. Like there was nothing out there. He hadn't jumped out of his field or anything like that. So we don't know how that happened. But obviously very badly broken neck. And at that point, it was just about keeping him alive and comfortable to be a
right. That kind of went out through the whole, I remember I wasn't working with you at that point, but that went out. Everybody's like, it was news quick.
And it was,
there's a lot of people that were like,
it was devastating to me because I was terrified of just losing. This horse is my soulmate. I knew the minute I met him, like this horse is the love of my life. So the thought of him not competing again, I didn't really care. The thought of
he'd have never gone anywhere anyway.
The thought of losing him was not okay to me, or him being miserable and uncomfortable. And he was right at first. He was in a lot of pain right at first. But we can all be in pain for a little while and work through it. I mean, it's a little bit of pain for a little while. Being stuck in a stall briefly is better than dead. So, it's okay if he was going to have to work through it a little bit. I just didn't want him to suffer for long term.
So did the doctor come in and say, hey, we'll take you in the other room, the comm room, and say, okay, this is what we're looking at. You're going to have to make this choice type deal. And you had every ambition of, no, this horse is going to stay with me no matter what.
Yeah, it was. And I think Travis knew I wasn't going to put him down unless that was the only option, right? Like he knows me, my love for this horse. But he did have to look at me and say, Kelsey, you're never going to ride him again. And that was a fair thing for him to say because the x-rays got sent to NC State and they looked at him and they're like, well, is the horse, like, have you put him down yet? And Travis said, the horse is standing in my clinic right now. And they said, how is he standing? And Travis says, you don't know this horse. And so, I mean, that's a pretty fair way of putting that. Like he is just tough. And so at that point, it was just how we're going to make him comfortable. There was no thought to ever ride or compete him again.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I spoke with Travis a little bit on Saturday.
Not me, the doctor. Say Dr.
Yeah, sorry, Travis Blackwelder. I should say Dr. Blackwelder.
Dr. Blackwelder.
Yeah.
Spoke.
Like I'm sitting there, I'm like going, am I in the story? I had no idea.
Dr. Blackwelder.
Dr. Blackwelder a little bit on Saturday because he was at the Further Ned deal.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love him. So he
does
great.
a lot of that.
Yeah, I've known him so long. I call him Travis. I should call him Dr. Blackwelder. That's much more.
Well, at least from my company. You should. No. So you've got the horse. Dr. Blackwell says, hey, this is what we're looking at. We'll do everything we possibly can within our powers. And you said, yes, do it. Money is no option.
Well, there was nothing to be done at that point, really. There wasn't like a surgery. There was just a matter of trying to keep him comfortable.
Do they put like when people get in car accidents back in the 80s, they put that plastic thing around their neck? Yeah.
Had nothing. It was just like, this is how we're going to manage his pain. And my friend Francis Whittington, who is a 5-star level event rider in the UK, he was coming over for a clinic I had organized and brought with him this device called an ARC EQUINE that he used on his own horses. He brought it over for Pirate. We tried it on him, and I could tell immediate relief. I should say immediate, but like the next morning, like he wore it overnight because it used to run a longer cycle than it does now. The newer ones are like 3 hours. The old one's like 6 hours or something. So we put it on him overnight, and the next morning he had more mobility. So it had done something to affect his comfort and the swelling and all of that. This is not like an ad for them, but this really did help.
Is that anything like a pulse unit or any of those deals?
Not really. It's I should have done more research on it, but I think it.
And what's it called again?
It's called ARC EQUINE.
Okay. So anyone out there listening, they could kind of Google search that.
Yeah, but it sort of affects them on a cellular level, so it's very minor. You don't feel it the way you do some of those other units you put on, and you put it specifically like on the area and you feel it. This is just something we like put on their leg, and it just helps realign their cells and helps them heal and reduce swelling and all this. And it did seem to help him, so that became a part of it. But there was really nothing to be done for him but manage his pain without pumping him full of all of these painkillers, basically, that, if you give a horse too much bute, you're going to tear up their stomach.
Right.
And that's really dangerous for them. So those first few months, there was just nothing to be done but pray. And I just willed it to happen. Francis and I looked at each other. He was over right at this time. And he just said, we've got to bring it back. And that was like the first person who said that to me, instead of just kind of thinking I was delusional for somewhere in there thinking I might be able to sit on him again.
He had faith.
Yeah, he did. And I always kind of did too. And he was the first person that kind of made that okay. And I've forever been grateful. He'll be my friend forever, just because of that. And yeah, and so I just kind of willed it to happen. I know that seems silly, but I was just determined that Pirate was going to be okay. And what okay looked like didn't really matter. It wasn't about, at that point, if I was going to jump the horse around advance.
It's just if he could be
my partner again
comfortable
in
enough
some way.
and
Yeah.
hang out with you, you know?
My little buddy, buddy out there in the pasture.
Exactly.
Oh, believe me, I understand that completely.
Yeah, I mean, he's like I said, he's the love of my life.
So-
And I've said that steadfastly for 19 years.
So we're going to take a quick little break, and we're going to find out where Pirate is now and what he's doing. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Boop, boop. You having a good time?
I am. This is really fun. Thank you.
Sure. Anytime.
I'll have to hurry up and get through some of the other things and what he actually ended up going on to do. I've only talked about his
It's
his
okay.
main injury,
It's good. It's good. We're good with whatever.
Okay.
But people will be interested in your story.
yeah. Well, I'll talk a ton, and you'll have to get out of there what's important. But you,
That's his job.
That's
I
my
was gonna
job.
say, you said the video version of it's everything, right? So
Right. Video version's everything.
I'm fine with that.
I take care of all the technical problems.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Mike, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Kelsey, you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you don't want to go on the air, that's okay. We understand that. But you can go over to equinedynamics.com. At the very top of the page, it says contact us. If you want to type a message, physically type a message to Mike in an email, you can do that up there. Make sure you put a physical return address, and we'll send you out some magnets, some stickers, some stuff we have here in our little prize bin, our little horse satchel, if you may. We'll send it out to you, and we'll answer your question here on the air, or Mike will actually physically email you back if we don't answer you right away. And just for being part of the show, we'll send you out some magnets, some stickers, and stuff like that, just to say thank you. And over to my far hand side, my very own thank you man is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing really good, Travis. How are you?
I'm doing well. And joining us here in the studio, a 4-star eventing rider, Kelsey Briggs, who is you're a pro 3-day eventing rider,
Right.
And you're pro because of this horse, Pirate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the trauma that Pyro went through with a broken, not necessarily was a broken neck or just a fractured neck. Because I think broken neck, I think like it's flailing around, with, it doesn't have any control
Very
or
badly fractured. Yeah, I guess broken neck's the quickest way to put it. But he obviously it didn't sever his spinal cord. So
Okay, so he's getting healed. He's getting the ARC equine pad cellular reconstruction thing on his back, and he's doing better.
yes,
He's doing good enough to do what now?
So right around 6 months from the injury, from that point on, I was able to get back on him again. I'll just jump ahead to saying that he was x-rayed. Everything looked amazing. And Travis Blackwelder, Dr. Blackwelder, not you, turned to me and said, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but you can get back on him. And he was there when I got the leg up on him to just go ride him bareback down the road. And I was everyone was crying. It was this big thing. And I swear if that's all I'd ever been able to do was just sit on my horse again, I would have been okay. I was just so happy to have him in my life and comfortable enough. That
Just as long as you could scratch his ears.
Yeah, right. Gosh, as long as you can scratch Pirate's ears, he's happy. But anyway, the long and short of it is he just kept coming back better and better and better. And there was no reason why he couldn't. And if he showed any reason why we should stop, we absolutely would have. But I just kept letting him move up through the levels, or I guess go through his recovery. We started competing again the following February. So I guess I got back on him early July, and we were jumping again by the fall, competing again by the following February. And I remember we went that April, so that's a little over a year after the accident, to the Fork Horse Trials, which does not run anymore at that location. It was out in Norwood.
Yeah, they've moved it to the Trine facility.
Yeah.
I followed it up there because I was working the Fork Trials.
Yeah, I loved that event. I mean, I'm sure it's still great at Trine, but I miss the old venue, right?
Everybody does.
And I just remember the crowds were huge for Pirate. This was the first time he was going to run intermediate level again, which is pretty high level. It's it's right up there. The highest level is advanced, right? So it's way up there. And go ahead.
You had Boyd and Phillip and
Oh yeah, all
They
the
had
big
team
dogs are
people
there.
in there, and yeah.
Oh, all the big dogs are in there, of course. And but there was just this huge crowd of people holding up signs for Pirate. Some of them were my people, of course, my students, and
Right.
I just always had a great support system in that regard. But it was just like strangers that had followed his story and fans of Pirate. He had a fan club. And everyone, I will never forget going through the water. I mean, this was April of 2014, and I still remember it was a big drop into the water, and then he galloped across the water, and it was, I think it was one of those things where it walked in 5 strides and Pirate did it in 4, just because he was attacking it, not because he was like leaving long and crazy. He's just a big horse, big strided, really attacked it. And he pulled me through, and it was 2 angled fences. And I had walked this course with Philip Dutton and had all these plans. And I just got in there, and he clicked into Auto Pirate and just pulled me through it. Like he had walked the course, like he knew what we were going to do. And he jumped the whole way around. But I remember at the water, it really stood out because the crowds were huge and they were screaming for him. And it was just so emotional.
And it was close enough. You had a lot of your local people
I had
there.
a lot of local people. I just had a lot of fans out there for that horse. And I remember going through the finish and just crying because I was like, he's really back. He's not just like still scrapping around doing this. He's really, really back.
And he's longer now because, you know, that one cry, you know, so he can do it in 4 strides instead of 5.
But he's a brilliant horse, and he always was. And just to know he was back and better than ever.
It doesn't matter. He was just going to do it.
Yeah, he was so happy. The horse loves it. He always has. He still does at 22. And, you know, from that point on, this horse goes on to make every dream I have ever had come true. We jumped around 4 stars, which is all I wanted to do when I was a kid. I just wanted to be a 4-star rider. We jumped around 4 stars. And, you know, we went up to Canada to compete. And, you know, it's just all this really, really cool stuff that, you know, doing these events. I'd never, you know, on one hand, I always knew I was going to do them. I was just like, this is what I'm going to do with my life. But the closer you get to it, when you're actually out there competing, you're like, wow, I'm really far away from ever being able to do that. I'm not as good as I thought I might be.
Right.
But this horse made that happen for me. And
Now, were there any? Could you see any side effects? Like, you know, a Pirate can only go this far to the right as to his left side, or did you see anything as a result of that broken? That, you know,
I don't think anything that he ever struggled with was a result of that. I think he's had other things to overcome. Probably the biggest thing he's ever had to overcome was me being his rider, right? I'm just this kid figuring out what I'm. I mean, I guess I was in my 20s at this point, but I was still learning how to ride advanced level. I didn't ever have a horse before Pirate take me through those levels, right? And he had this way of making it feel like he knew what he was doing, even though he had never done it before. We learned it all together, right? So I'm up there just hanging on, trying to figure it out. And so he's just, any problems we may have ever had were me trying to learn, right? And making every mistake and then some. And so, yeah, like, you know, he might be a little stiffer left, but I don't know that that's his neck. That's probably just me not riding him the right way, you know. And then
now, Mike, do you work on this horse? Is this
Yes,
a horse
yes,
that's in
I
your stalls?
Yes, I do. And I kind of came in a little later on the deal. And, you know, we've had to deal with, well, I mean, with everything.
Did you know about the broken or the fracture before you got in there?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
you're aware of this.
Believe me, when something happened to Pirate, everybody knew.
So,
He's beloved by many.
She was the hot topic around the neighborhood for a while.
so what were some of the challenges that you ran into, Mike, as far as, you know, shoeing the horse or you know, putting your hands on the horse, because you do that a lot when you touch any horse.
I mean, it's, you know, getting the foot back under the bone column, which is always basic, because I think there were some problems when I got called in on it. And, you know, as he's aged and with everything that's gone on, we've had to do a few things to help his feet out a little bit.
because he has Cushing's. That's
Because
another
of,
thing.
because of the Cushing's,
He has
yes.
Cushing's now.
So he's wearing some supports and some extra rubber, and got to have the right kind of mechanics in there to get the leverage off. And he just goes.
He does. He still goes. And so, I mean, gosh, in addition to the broken neck, this horse strained a high suspensory, which is a ligament in their hind leg. And I think you feel that a little bit in that right hind sometimes.
Right, yeah.
I think if anything has stuck with him, it wouldn't be the broken neck. Even though when he turns his neck, it goes... It makes
mine
this
does
funky.
that.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
I don't think it causes him any trouble. But I think that old high suspension, and I don't know that it does. Maybe that's not. I mean, I think his hocks are just, you know, whatever. But nothing
He's
is
a little stiff back there
a
occasionally.
little, but I mean,
you
he's
know,
a 22-year-old horse. Maybe that's pretty normal.
Well, you know, the thing is with him at this point, with the cushions and everything, keeping him active really helps keep the problems I would run into that settle down because you keep the blood pumping. And, you know, I know when I don't work on horses for a few days, everything gets stiff.
And you have to keep going,
And
I think.
he just goes. He just goes.
I mean, and he could have had a million things that could have stopped his career apart. You know, he strained that high suspensory. And I think that was a footing issue. I don't think that, you know, I was just riding him in a, like, as I've always just leased farms, and I was just riding him in an uneven field, doing all of his work out there. I mean, I have a feeling that high suspensory was just from not really having the, you know, right kind of footing.
Ground conditions will have a huge effect on that.
And so stuff like that. But he got EPM really badly, and that's a neurological disease. And so
that was another time we thought, wow.
Is he going to come back?
So he was
actively running advanced at that point in his career.
He's been through so much already.
Exactly. And so the fact that he's 22 years old, not as much as he used to, but still competes. Like I still take him out because he loves it. And this horse deserves to do whatever it is that he wants. I owe him absolutely everything.
Hey, y'all go swimming at Cane Creek real regular.
We do that more than anything else anymore as we go swimming. Wherever I can find a pond or a lake or a stream, that horse loves to splash.
Really?
And sway. He loves it. Loves the water. So I take him out to play in water whenever I can, but he still competes. He cross-country schooled the other day. He's a brilliant jumper, and he can literally gallop up to a 4-foot fence and jump it like it's a canter stride to this day. I don't compete him at the upper levels anymore, but that said, he ran a prelim. He's run preliminary within the last year. I mean, that's still big enough fences. They're still over 3.5
and
foot.
he did very well.
Yeah, he always does.
How tall was the horse? I forgot if you mentioned that.
Yeah, he's 17 hands. He's
okay, so
big.
he's a tall guy.
Yeah, he's tall. Right. Yep. And but yeah, I mean, he just steps over a big fence to this day. He always has made them feel effortless. I've jumped around.
And you don't even ask. You're not worried about how he sets up. He sets
himself up because I didn't know what I was doing when I was bringing him up. As I bring horses along through the levels now, I think I'm a little more involved in trying to figure it out, but I still like them to think for themselves. It's really important to me. I don't want to jump around the upper levels on something that's looking to me for every stride. I want them to think for themselves. So I still try and instill that in all the ones I'm bringing up, but Pirate more than any, right? He just clicks into autopilot.
Is he the only horse that you ride now, or do you have other horses and that you work with, that you compete with?
Of my own, I do have a younger one coming up through the levels. He is about to move up to intermediate level. He's been running preliminary.
What's his name?
Moonster. Now, I did not change his racing. His jockey club name was Moonster, and it is still Moonster.
So this is another horse that you got off the track.
Yep.
Was it $600?
Well, so clients.
You don't have to tell me how much it was.
No,
but
he actually.
This one was the $1 million horse.
No, although he was at Calumet Farm, which is a very big, high-dollar racing farm, but anyway, or breeding farm, I should say. But anyway, so some clients of mine actually found him, and I was training him for them, and I was supposed to get him sold. And we kind of fell in love with each other, but it also.
Wait a minute! I've heard this story. I've heard this story before.
No, well, I will say that, but also it was becoming evident to me that Pirate wasn't going to run advanced forever, and in order to stay relevant in the sport, I was going to need something else that could maybe take me to that level. And honestly, I've never had any money. I didn't think I would ever have a chance at another horse that could go up through that level, because I did have another one I brought up through intermediate level. That's a wonderful horse. I still have. I just do dressage with him. And that was a fun little foray into the dressage world for like 6 months. He went and got my bronze medal for me in the USDF bronze medal. And Villain's a wonderful horse, but it was not going to go advanced. I just felt his body was going to break down. Right. You have to deal with his feet, Mike.
Right. He does not help us out in that area one bit.
And I don't think he wanted to do it either. He's was very obedient and very talented, but I always felt I had to hold his hand around the upper levels. I don't want to run a horse advanced where I'm holding their hand and talking them into it. I don't ever really want to have to talk a horse into doing anything apart from when they're new and green and learning and need to be given confidence.
Well, you want a horse to want to go do it.
There's a level that if they're not pulling me to the fence, I don't want to ask them to do it. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's being a good horseman. I just don't think it's moral to do that. It's just not safe. I don't want to have to talk them into it. I don't want them to be second guessing. But Little Moon, I remember I took him, he's 15 hands, he's tiny. And I took him for the owners to his first event after I'd been fox hunting him, because initially he was supposed to go be a fox hunter. And he still is. He's a wonderful hunt horse. But I took him to his first event. I did beginner novice. I came off cross country and I called the owner and I said, "This is an advanced horse. And she kind of laughed. I said, I'm serious. I've only ever felt that about one other horse, and it was Pirate. And partly with Pirate, I mean, I just knew that's what I wanted to do with him, but also he just made it feel effortless, right? And I came off the course and I said, I think Moon will go advanced. She's like, cool, we should be able to sell him for more than. But it just became evident that I needed this horse and he needed me. He was just a little quirky and we just matched each other really well. And I took him hunting in Virginia, and he got me out of a real spot of trouble, like jumped up the side of this bank out of a creek, and it like landslide underneath him, just totally the bank collapsed underneath him. And he kind of face plants in the mud, but somehow stays upright. And we're both covered in mud, and he stands up and goes a few strides, jumps a big coop, goes galloping through the field. And I was like, I'm not selling this horse for them.
Right.
And I called her on the way back. I said, I can't sell him. She goes, oh gosh, was he bad? And I said, no, I can't let this horse go. And the Hamilton family, they've been with me since I was a kid. They were like my first clients. And we ended up trading out some training fees for some other horses and his old training fees. You know, we just traded it out. So he didn't cost me anything in that regard. It didn't have to hand over cash.
Just time, time, love, and passion.
Yeah, actually.
Right.
And so now I'm about to move him up to intermediate. He's an exceptionally talented horse. And he's trying his very best to follow in Pirate's footsteps and doing a great job of it. And,
Well, good.
That's going to be tough to follow in those footsteps.
Yeah, I know, but gosh, he's a wonderful horse, and I think he's going to keep me relevant as an upper level rider.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to take one more little quick break and let you get back to your playing with your pony. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Right.
Uh-oh. Moon is getting his chance to shine. I don't know if that even makes it on there, but now you got me talking about him.
It's okay. We just run with what brought to the track.
There's always a part 2 if you want to ever come back.
Right.
I was going to say, I'm hoping I'm not scaring y'all away. I love talking.
No, Lord,
so
no.
please.
No. You have been wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That's true. Right? It's not going to change, I don't think, next time.
Right.
It's great. No, you don't link to it. I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
I want you to be comfortable.
All right.
And as normal as possible.
Yeah, well, this is pretty much normal
Kelsey
me. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I'm being any different. Mike will tell you.
I'm having a good time.
No, it's like you're just being you. This is how it is.
Unless I'm all heated about something and I'm mad.
Right.
Then I'm chatty. I'm just
You're
mad
still
about
chatty.
Well, make sure I don't ever cross that line.
It takes a lot to make me
Oh,
mad.
Lord. If she...
Mike, you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, I'm gonna. This is gonna be a little bit different as far as what we learned. So just kind of go with it. I'm kind of riffing here, okay? Mike, you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. Here we go.
I'll make it through.
All right. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you'd like this podcast to perform out at your location, your clinic, your barn, your doggy door, your cat door, or if you'd like to be part of the show, you can reach out to us at any time at equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says clinics. Fill out that little form. Tell us what you are, what you want, and if you want us to be out at your location, we can do that as well. We're getting into the cooler months here soon, so that'll be great to do some outside events. We'd love to bring this to you and share the experience of Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine at your location. And if you got a barn full of people, it's fun. We have a great time. A lot of fellowship and fun is had by all. Just fill out that form over there on equinedynamics.com. And over to my far hand side, my very own entertainer is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you? And thank you for being with us, Kelsey. Always a treat.
Thank you for having me. Any chance to talk about my Pirate? I'm happy to be here.
And joining us this week, a 4-star event rider, Kelsey Briggs. And she's been talking about her horse, Pirate, who had a fractured neck. We said broken in the beginning, but that doesn't, it's kind of like a slang term, but he had a fractured neck, regained all mobility, and ended up, how many trophies did he win? How many trophies do you have on your shelf?
He's won a lot. He was successful competing up through the advanced and 4-star level of eventing. And he's won plenty. He won the Thoroughbred Incentive Program Championships, I think 3 times.
Right.
And he was the top placed Thoroughbred at the Jersey Fresh 3-star in 2015, which is, that was only 2 years after he broke his neck. He's won the top Thoroughbred award in a lot of events because the Thoroughbred Incentive Program, which is put on by the Jockey Club, is for the horses that have been off the racetrack that have transitioned into other sports, right? So he's been a super, I would say, just an excellent advocate for those horses, right? Just proof of what of how tough they are and how talented they are and how much heart they have.
And they're not done yet.
And he's
they're
even
not done
he's
yet.
even made the big screen.
Well, yeah. So when he was over the ARC EQUINE, that company that they ended up sponsoring us, that really helped him with his recovery. They put him up on this big poster the size of one of the walls in the studio here, and he was over at Badminton Horse Trials. So though I never could afford to fly Pirate over to England to do anything, he's been over at Badminton. We'll say it that way, right?
In spirit too.
He's gotten a lot of fame, and gosh, if I'll ever just like write a book about him or make a movie about him, that's what we ought to do.
He would be a good movie.
I think they need to make a Briar horse out of him. That's what they need to do. Because I mean, he really does. When I sit back and I think about, not just all he's overcome and all he's won and all of his accolades, I just think that, what an incredible horse he is, that you can trust him with like little kids running around underneath him.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, he's the most genuinely kind horse I've ever met in my life. He's so loving. There are not many like him. I mean, I put my friend's babies on his back and trust him, even though he's a lot of horse to actually gallop down to a fence. He's just such a loving, trustworthy horse. And I could talk forever about him. I already have been, but
all right, Mike. What did we learn today?
What did we learn today?
We learned so much.
We did. We learned a lot.
We had that. I mean, it's a whole entire show of stuff that we learned today. But let's see if we can pick out the best part. So, what did we learn today, Mike? We learned about Pirate.
We learned about Pirate. You want to chime in, Kelsey? Yeah.
Oh gosh, I was going to say
about...
I mostly did the talking. I didn't do the learning, y'all.
So Pirate broke his neck, and where's Pirate today? Pirate today is where?
He is out there happily grazing in a field. He went cross-country schooling the other day. I don't know if I'm going to run him in any more events or not, but he did one in May and was brilliant, so it kind of makes me feel like I should.
Right.
He was running up through intermediate last year at 21, so he definitely still has it in him.
He's just a trooper. He's just a trooper. Nothing's going to shut him down.
Just living his best life all the time.
And Kelsey, you're training on another horse now that you just briefly talked on towards the end of the last segment, and that horse is
Moonster.
Moonster. Yeah. And what's the storyline behind Moonster? Where's your goal for him?
I really do believe he'll go advanced. Just like I said, that first time I ran him cross country, I felt he would go advanced. I still feel that way. He's moving up to intermediate soon. They say you don't really know you have an advanced horse until you take them advanced.
Right.
But I really believe that he will. So short term, he's going to move up to intermediate and then do a 2-star in November. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anything can go wrong with horses, but that's the plan. But long term, I think he'll be a 4-star horse like Pirate. Maybe we'll jump around a 5-star. We'll see.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, with keeping Pirate going, I mean, Kelsey's been the center of it, but she put together a very good team of people to help out the program, because it is no I in it. We all are involved, and Travis is
Dr. Travis.
Dr. Travis.
Travis Blackwelder. Yes,
Travis has done.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate everything, Mike.
Travis has done a lot of the good things for horses.
I have
like
too.
Pay their bills.
That's what I do.
And see, that's just it, though. I mean, I've had a lot of faith in this horse, right? I feel like I willed a lot to happen, and I love him, and I'll do anything right by him. But I couldn't have done this myself. I am not a farrier. I am not a vet. I couldn't have done any of this stuff, right? I believed in him, and I would do anything for him. But
it's been down to keeping his teeth right and everything else that's been involved.
Yeah, but his feet. I mean, honestly, that's been a huge part of it. I mean, we've had to make a lot of adjustments. Things have changed as he's gotten older. The Cushing's has really affected him.
Right.
And so Mike has had to do so many different things for him to keep him going that way.
But even at that, he can go out and gallop cross country when he wants to,
yeah.
or go swimming up in the Cane Creek.
He always wants to go gallop cross country. He doesn't. He sees the trailer now, and he will drag me onto it. He wants to go and play, but he could not do that if we didn't have his feet right. We were getting to a place where it was, that was the only source of discomfort for him. And because I don't think his neck bothers him at all. We don't seem to have any lasting effects from the EPM.
No.
And I really don't think that high suspensory he's certainly never given me a reason to think it still bothers him. He's a little stiffer behind now, being that he's 22.
Too.
But I mean, yeah. But I think he's fine in every way, but I think his feet were going to be the end of his career if you hadn't been able to sort that out. And I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what you did, but I'm glad you.
Some days I don't pretend to know what I did. I just
I'm glad
do.
you figured out what he needed. My friend, Dr. Sarah Feathers, she came down and took X-rays. She's truly one of my best friends. She was just in town visiting me. She brought her horse down for me to train for a few months. And just while she was at it, did some X-rays of his feet and worked with Mike to try and figure out exactly what we needed. I was not cheating on Travis Blackwater. She's just one of my best friends.
and
she would come do that for me.
I couldn't have known exactly where to go without Sarah's input.
Yeah.
And seeing exactly where things are to get lined up. Because sometimes the externals are not exactly what's going on inside.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I'm lucky that one of my very best friends is a vet, because things like X-rays and all that, that's not cheap. And we didn't necessarily think that there was something wrong. We just needed to know what should happen next.
Right. And if you're in Bristol, Tennessee, and you've got foot problems and you need a vet, call Sarah.
If you've got any problems with your horse in Bristol, Tennessee, please call Dr. Sarah Feathers.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So the big question is, though, what the audience wants to know is what's next for Kelsey Briggs. I mean, we talked about all our horses. What's next for Kelsey?
Well, my horses are my life. Truly, anything that they're doing next, that's what I'm doing. That's all I do. It's all I think about. I've lived and breathed it since I was a little girl. So,
Yeah, it's not stopping now.
Yeah, well over 30 years. I've never lost my passion for it. So when I talk about what my horses are doing, that's all I'm doing. I can assure you. I just sit at home with my cats most of the time when I'm not at the barn. So I'm not too exciting outside of the horses. So next up for me is I have an event. I'm going to 5 Points Horse Trials with little Moonster. I will hate to leave Pirate at home, but I don't.
He'll give his buddies a bad time. He'll be all right.
Yeah, I was gonna say I might take him to the Thoroughbred Championships in October. Let him defend his title because he's won it so many times.
Right.
I haven't fully decided, but yeah, little Moonster and I will be running some events this fall, and as I said, moving up to intermediate, running a 2-star in November, and so that's what I have coming up, I guess.
Well, that sounds great, and we're all looking forward to you. And so, guys, if you want to follow the show and follow Kelsey, how can our listeners find you and get a hold of you?
Well, I had a website that I let go, so you can probably find me on the social medias. I'm on Instagram as Kelsey Briggs Eventing. I also have a Kelsey Briggs Eventing Facebook page, but it's very neglected. I never update it, but that's me. There's a picture of Pirate dropping down into the water at the fork. And I have a personal Facebook page, which I'm fine with people contacting me through that. But you can always email me, I guess, kelseylbriggs@gmail.com, or you can call me if I'm allowed to give out my phone number.
Yes, you are. Go right ahead.
All right, it's 704-975-5247. You're welcome to call or text me. That is my personal number. It's the only number I have, so maybe don't text me at 11 p.m. because I'll be sleeping.
There's one thing you
Well, we'd like to thank Kelsey Briggs for joining us this week on Equine Dynamics.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Like I said, any chance to talk about Pirate and Moonster and just the horses in general, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, and I'll thank you for being here, and I will see you later this afternoon.
Yeah, you've got to come put a shoe on my young one. So
yeah.
On behalf of Mike Stine over there.
Thank you. Have a good day. Enjoy your ponies, and Kelsey always enjoys her ponies.
I do. I'm still like a little kid.
My name is Travis, saying we're going to take next week off for Labor Day, but we'll see you the following week. So see you we'll see you that week.
Thank you.
Hi, Lucky. Good night, Ned. Hi, Dusty.
Good night, Ned.
I got it in there.
Good night, Ned.
Somehow.
Did we do it?
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
We did.
Oh, man.